Can something ever be absolutely perfect, or even too perfect? That thought drifted through Kemenyu's mind as he prepared to begin the most demanding commission of his life. Kemenyu was an architect of Memphis, charged with designing the new shrine of Ptah within the great temple complex. He had always loved order and symmetry. His ivory compass was his favorite tool, so precise, so steady. Kemenyu loved its balance and exactness. In his world, everything ought to be perfectly aligned. He wanted his shrine to be more than sound geometry. He wanted it to be a work of art, a creation worthy of the magnificent temple his predecessors had raised. That night, Kemenyu slept lightly, and in his dreams he walked through the shrine he had not yet built. But then something shifted in the dream, sudden and wrong. In an instant, the flawless shrine of his dreams fractured. A heartbeat later, it was nothing but a broken heap of stones, dust rising where perfection had stood. The dream twisted darker, and suddenly he stood in the great hall. The high priest's voice thundered that the collapse was Kemenyu's fault, and that he had offended the gods on purpose. Kemenyu jolted awake, trembling, his skin damp with cold sweat. Beside him, his wife slept on, turned away, while the painted statuette of Ptah on the bedroom shelf seemed to stare down at him. Long before dawn, Kemenyu crept into his workroom and unrolled the papyrus containing his blueprint. By lamplight, the lines looked flawless. Yet he felt it in his chest. Something was wrong. Something he couldn't see. He leaned closer, tracing shapes with a fingertip, but the papyrus betrayed nothing. He closed his eyes and imagined the shrine completed, perfect and radiant. And still a whisper of dread told him the beauty was false, that a hidden fault lay beneath the symmetry. Footsteps entered the doorway, and his wife blinked sleepily at him. "Do you want pancakes with sycamore syrup for breakfast?" she asked, blissfully ignorant of the architect's doubts. Maybe the problem wasn't in his lines at all, Kemenyu thought. Maybe something was wrong with the stone itself. He grabbed his sandals and headed toward the storage yard. Rows of limestone blocks waited in the cool morning air. He ran his hands across their surfaces, searching for cracks, soft patches, anything that might cause failure. The foreman joined him as Kemenyu voiced his concerns, but the man shook his head firmly and said the stone was excellent, some of the finest he had ever carved. In fact, the foreman added proudly, it was cut from the very same quarry as the famous obelisk everyone said would stand firm for all eternity. Kemenyu nodded, trying to look reassured. If the calculations were sound and the stone was excellent, then perhaps the timing itself was wrong, Kemenyu reasoned. So he went to the temple's astrology chamber. The priest studied his painted charts and nodded with grave assurance. Not only was the timing good, he said, it was excellent, and they should begin as soon as possible. He launched into an obscure explanation about rising deckhands and a benevolent tilt in the shadow of Sopdet. Besides, he added casually, I'm hosting a seminar next week. Don't forget to subscribe. But when Kemenyu stepped out into the temple courtyard, a sudden vision seized him again. The shrine lay in ruins before his mind's eye. It felt real. He returned to his chamber once more, unrolled the blueprint, and searched every line until his eyes throbbed. Still he found nothing wrong, and despair crept into him. He wandered through the temple grounds in silence, hoping movement would clear his mind. But even the vast evening view and the beautiful sunset on Memphis could not lift the weight in his chest. As Kemenyu walked through the courtyard, he noticed a strange blue shimmer rising from the stones. It flickered like starlight trapped in dust. Then it gathered into the shape of the man. No, not a man. The god Ptah himself. Kemenyu watched, mesmerized, as Ptah traced glowing circles across the temple floor. Everything is not meant to be perfect, the god said, the blue lights rolling around his hands. A small flaw sometimes will prevent collapse. If built the traditional way, the shrine would not catch the dawn light at all, Ptah said, blue lines shifting around him. But with the ceiling made just a little asymmetrical, the light will shine through. Lovely it shall be, and illuminate the altar. Admired it will be, restored when needed, preserved for ages. Ptah said, the blue glow swirling brighter. Allowed to collapse, it will not be. Stand forever it shall, or at least until we the gods return to walk the earth again. And now, go add a little flaw to your ceiling to let the light in, my young apprentice. At these words, Kamenyu rushed back to the workshop, hard hammering. He redrew the blueprint around the sacred flaw, just like Ptah had shown. The lines snapped into place with gentle precision. Even the papyrus seemed relieved. It seemed to breathe and imagine the shrine. Stone blocks rose under the morning sun, each placed with quiet pride. Many workers admired the strange linen flaw that made everything work. On the final day, the shrine caught the first beam of dawn. Light poured into the sanctum like a whispered blessing, exactly as Ptah had predicted. Kamenyu traveled across Egypt afterward, teaching the secret he called the divine skylight. Builders listened, temples learned, and his small imperfection became a celebrated art. Kamenyu placed his ivory compass in Ptah's shrine. Some say it still lies there today, whispering, "Perfection needs flaw, or it cannot endure. A crack in the pattern makes the light more pure."